You're on.
Okay, we're okay. All righty. Well, good to see all of you. I had a wonderful time on the cruise last week. And like I said, I've got two friends, Stephanie and Brandon, that are joining us this morning that I met on the cruise. And want to tell you to think about putting on your calendar. We're going to cruise on a cruise to leaving out of Galveston the first week of December. And I hope that a lot of you will choose to go with me. I'm going to be speaking, and I think Kim's going to go and speak. So anyway, we'll be telling you more about it as we go along. And there I see Trey. I don't see him. I see his name. And Trey, you did a marvelous job on the talk last night. Thank you so much. And I'm expecting to see you maybe in April, that you come for the Thursday night family and friends. We've been missing you. So I hope that works out. All righty. So I want to start by saying, I hate to say this, I hate to admit it in front of all of y'all, that I'm old. Okay, I'm a little old, and I have gotten so mixed up on what I was going to talk about today. I was going to talk about love, because it is the month of love, February. And then I was going to talk about food addiction, and then back to love and food addiction. And so I thought we decided yesterday, Misty and I, that I was going to talk about love. She thought I was going to talk about food addiction. So I'm talking about love, but come back next week. I'm going to be talking about food addiction. And I came back from the cruise with a cough, so bear with me. And so talking about this, February is the month of love, and every month needs to be the month of love. But I wanted to talk about every February, usually around Valentine's, I'll talk about love, but I was on the cruise ship this year, experiencing love with some of my new best friends there. So when we think about love, when I think about love, the ultimate of when we think about an organization or love, what comes to me is the 12-step program, because people in all the 12-step programs, AA, OA, Al-Anon, we're in there for free and for fun. We're not in there to get, to go in there to get anything. Now, we get a lot in the 12-step programs, but how we get something in the program is we give. It's a give and take situation in a 12-step program. I think it's really the ultimate of love, because we do it without any expectations other than it buys us another day of recovery. That's what the 12-step program does. And I have had some deep, deep, deep friendships through the 12 steps, and many of my sponsors, they were older and therefore they have passed away. But anyway, I want to touch on love and the different types of love. And so I was reading a letter that Albert Einstein, when we think of, a scientist like that, we wouldn't think of him talking much about love, but he wrote a letter to his daughter about love. And what he was saying is, if all of the scientists could take the power of love and transform it into the power like that they were doing with, every scientific intervention that they were making, if we could do that with love, it would change the entire world. That is the thing that would change the entire world, is love. Love is the most powerful force on the face of the earth. It's the only thing that can change an enemy into a friend. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about love. And, it's not so much romantic love. It does include romantic love, but it is more just the love of one. I mean, the language of the heart, one person to another. And so I want to talk a little bit about love and what love is. Love is light. Think about light and how love enlightens those that give it and those that receive it. Think about the light that is given with love. And just because I just came off the cruise, that's what's present in my mind. And we got to go to lots of 12-step meetings and heard wonderful speakers. And what I came away with, I got my bucket full of love. It was full of love, and yes, there were people on that cruise that wasn't with our group, but I'm talking about the people that we were with. And, love lightens up everything. It is the most powerful force on the face of the earth. And think about love is gravity, because when we are in the spirit of love, we draw people to us. Or when we're around loving people, I am drawn to them, and those are the people that I want to be around, and how that gravity. And also it brings, it brings us to people that we get attracted to in a love relationship. That's gravity pulling us toward each other. And that is powerful. And speaking of powerful, love is power. There is nothing more powerful than love. And the thing about it, love multiplies. If it doesn't, it's not true love. If you just keep it all to yourself in a little bundle, and you are just this bundle of love, but you don't spread it out, it fizzles. There's nothing there. Love multiplies. And when it does that, when love is offered in its best form, what happens is that it helps all of humanity. When I was thinking about this last night, I have a very heavy heart about the war in Ukraine. And I don't sit and watch. The only thing I watch is 6 o'clock news, and that's enough, and to keep me up to date. But my heart goes out for that country. And I was seeing last night how the president of the United States and then the president or the dictator of Russia were talking, and how the two different men spoke and what they spoke of. And I thought, if somehow we could, everyone that believes in prayer and the power of prayer and the power of love, if we could all start praying for the dictator of Russia or the dictators of all of the countries that are under their rule, what might happen? I don't know if y'all have heard about this movement in Kentucky. I got some of my Kentucky friends on here. Have y'all heard about, I think it's Ashley or Asby College. It's students there that have started a revival. And have y'all read about it? Shake your head if you've heard about it. Anyway, it's just started with students through the student union, I guess. But it started at a church, and it has grown and it has grown and it has grown. It's a revival. And that's what I think we all need in our United States. They're saying people are coming from everywhere just to be in that midst, and that the line is real long. You can't get, can't get into the building. And they are musicians, gospel bands or quartet or whatever are offering their assistance, and preachers and evangelists. But these students are saying, no, we're doing this ourselves. Thank you, but no thank you. And that is the power of love, folks. If we could all catch that, can you imagine what could happen in our United States? And of course, I'm already over there in Russia. I'm wanting us all to pray for, I mean, like I started, my heart is heavy for the people in Ukraine or any country that is war torn like that. All right, so love is power. It's the most powerful force on the face of the earth. And I will repeat this: it's the only thing that can turn an enemy into a friend. Think about it. It's not going to be all of those powerful rockets and bombs and all that they are making that's going to turn the world into peace. It's going to be love, and love is the only thing that we're willing to love, to live for, and to die for. Think about it. Love is so powerful. We're willing to live for love, and we're willing to die for it. I think about, I don't know why that I woke up this morning thinking about our soldiers and, and how they must love their country and must love the work that they do in order to get up every morning and go face what they have to face in order for us to be safe in our country. And then, without even saying it, God is love. Love is God, and God is love. This is what gives meaning to everything in life. Everything. So, I met a woman on the cruise that I have read her books forever, Annie Lamont. I don't know if any of you, shake your head if you've ever read any of Annie Lamont's books. Reading her books has gotten me through so many life changes because she talks a lot about love. She talks about that she loves God. She loves Jesus, and she cusses a lot, which she does. She cusses in her books, and she cusses in when you meet her in person. But what I had the privilege of listening to Annie speak several times on the cruise. And what she puts out is her humanness, that she is so human. And she talks about the things that are not so good about herself, and things that she was really would like to improve on. But what she does is she upholds other people. That is what's so lovable about Annie, is how she upholds other people. And she doesn't put herself down in a bad way. She just tells on herself. I love in a 12-step program how we all tell on ourselves. If we don't, we stay in a mountain of trouble, if we don't tell on ourselves. And I'll tell on myself this morning. I've been having a problem, and I'm not going to be old and talk about my medical problems, but I have had kind of a swelling problem, and I have a bad old eating disorder. And I woke up this morning and I felt fat. Now, fat is not a feeling. Fat is not a feeling. But for all of you who have an eating disorder, you understand what I mean. I woke up feeling fat. I thought, well, I have gained 50 pounds overnight. But anyway, what I had to do is start thinking about this talk that I was going to do on love. And that's not a very loving thing for me to badger myself with, that you're feeling fat. Fat in my eating disorder, or not my eating disorder, but the eating disorder is between my two ears. And if I don't speak it out loud, to save people, like I'm speaking it to you, that can linger there all day. And if it lingers, in the past, and it doesn't, by the grace of God, manifest itself into a relapse, which I am very grateful for, and I do not take lightly. But if I don't speak those things out loud, and get it out there, and then realize that, I am worth loving through this little period of feeling, that F word. When my kids were little, when they started to school, they went to school thinking, my little boy came home one day and he said, Mom, the F word is a 4-letter word, not a 3-letter word. I always would not let them say fat in the house, and so they thought F was a 3-letter word. He learned a new word at school that had 4 letters, and y'all know what that is. But anyway, all right, what we can do with love, if you want to really want to benefit from love, give it. And what it will do is it is universal as far as resolving stress and anxiety. Think about it. If you want to remove stress from your life and anxiety, start loving yourself through that. And this is not in a selfish way. If we don't love ourselves first, what do we have to give to anyone else? I got on planet Earth not feeling lovable, and I thought it was everybody else's place to love me. And it starts with us. It really starts with our parents. And if we miss it there, then it falls back on us. We get to be our own healthy parent, and we get to learn to love ourselves in healthy ways. But how I learned that, I just didn't wake up one morning and learn it by myself. How I learned that was started by taking myself to church when I was 8 years old. But when I really learned it was sitting in 12-step programs. That's where they love unconditionally, for free and for fun. Okay, so if you want to resolve stress and feelings of fear and pain and inadequacy, guess what? Love yourself through it. What those things do, they pull the very joy out of our life. We have a list of feelings here, 7 feeling words that we encourage our clients to use, because most addicts don't know how they feel. Addicts have either great big feelings or no feelings. So we make it simple for our clients, and we give them 7 words 7 feeling words to choose from. And one of them is joy. Joy is the ultimate of God's enthusiasm. That's what joy means, the enthusiasm of God. And so if you want to bring out the joy in yourself and in someone else, love yourself through whatever's going on. And, if we can love others and feel loved, and that can spread from one person to another, it's amazing what might happen. The other day when we landed in LA, we had a midnight red-eye flight that I do not recommend. But anyway, we did have a pleasant day. We rented a car. We drove around LA, and then we met a friend that we'd for an early dinner out at Santa Monica and on the beach. And so it was a lovely day. But it was sad that, and this is in downtown, on Beverly Hills, some of the finest streets in the United States. There were homeless people set up camp on the sidewalks everywhere you looked. I did not know that. They are everywhere. Homeless people. And there's something going on. They can't make a move. I don't know what it is. But anyway, all I could see was these homeless people, and there would be whole families out there set up camp. And that saddened me to think that so many of us have way too much. I've got more stuff that I know what to do with. And I don't know why I brought that up, but it's, there's got to be some way that this economy can level out. And I'm not a socialist. Do not throw that at me. I'm not a socialist. But it seems like the rich get rich and the poor get poor. But anyway, uh, so you're talking about love. When we are loved, then we learn to live love, and we need to give love. I did not know what love was. I grew up with a very sick mom and dad. I believe at the very core of my being, they would have done better if they could have. They didn't know it. Their parents didn't give it to them. They couldn't give it to me and my sister. And so I grew up feeling very unloved and unlovable. And the first woman that I really met in the program, I was very shy. I could not say my own name. I started going to Al-Anon in 1968, but I couldn't tell them my name. I was so shy and so bashful. And there was a woman there, and it was an all women's meeting that I went to. There was a woman there that, of all the women there, I mean, I just was drawn to her. But I mean, I didn't have enough self-esteem to walk up and introduce myself and talk with her. No, not at all. But one day, and we lived at that time kind of out in the country a ways. It's all built up now. But anyway, it's where we raised our children, this old 2-story house. But anyway, my doorbell rang. And I went to the door and I opened the door, and there stood this woman that I was drawn to in this meeting. And I was shocked that she was there. Now, she had long-term, I didn't know anything about her, but come to find out she'd been in the program for a long time. And she was there, and I didn't know whether to let her in. I mean, I didn't know her other than I was drawn to her in that meeting. I did let her in, and what she said was, she was a traveling nurse, and she said, all day today, when I've gone to these little towns, she said, the only thing I could think about was you. And she said, somehow God put you in my heart. You have wiggled into my heart, and my job is to love you. I mean, I'd never heard anything like that before. I thought she wanted me to buy something. I thought she was trying to sell me something. And all she wanted was, she said, God just spoke to me, and I'm just supposed to love you. So here I am. And so what happened through the years is we became very, very, very close friends. She became my spiritual advisor. She had many years of the program. My children didn't have a grandmother. She became their grandmother. She was at every birth of grandchildren. She was at every dance recital. I mean, every kindergarten graduation, high school graduation. And that's what pure love is giving. God put that love in her heart for a stranger, me, a nobody that just showed up at a 12-step meeting. Now that is love in action. Love is really spelt Time. Love is a verb. And it takes time to show people love. See, that woman was busy, and she had spent all day going around these little towns being this traveling nurse, but she took her time to drive out to my house, and thankfully I opened the door for her. I opened the door, and then she stepped into my heart, and she's still there today. Except it's very sad. She has Alzheimer's. She doesn't know me, but I think on a certain level she probably does. But anyway, that is my story about joy and about love, and with and I've got a dear friend on here from Seattle, and when I hear her talk about her beloved partner, and how the love that she had for her partner and how she nursed her through her sickness. Every time she talks, I cry, because that is love in action. We can say, I love you till hell freezes over. And yeah, the word sounds good. Hey, I love you. I love you. I love you. But love is an action word, and it takes time to give love and to spend time with people and to take the action. And so my dear friend Ted, I'm going to get to go see her in May. But when I hear her talk about her beloved partner, it's just pure love in action, and how she took care of her when she was sick. And so love is we live in love, and we find in doing that, if we live in love, we're going to find the meaning of life. Without love, we die on the inside. Without love, we die too early. We die from the inside out. And I have known people like that. They were breathing in and out, but they were dead on the inside. And I have seen some of those people show up at meetings. And they were much like me. I mean, I was shut down because I didn't know what love was. And I was so scared of people that I have seen people come into a meeting and continue to come into a meeting. And what they will say later is that, maybe years later, that what drew them there was their disease, but what kept them there was the love of the group. And that's what we get and that's what I have found in any meeting that I've ever gone to. Okay, so the only thing that can can offset resentment, self-resentment, and self-pity is love, tolerance, and patience. And love is the greatest of these. And so, like I said at the beginning, love is the only emotion, the only thing that can turn an enemy into a friend. So I encourage each of you today, as we all go throughout the day, and when you do your 10th step tonight and you do prayer and meditation throughout the day, let's pray for the leaders, and let's pray particularly for Ukraine and what's going on over there. And because what they're fighting for is what we have here in our country. That I wonder sometimes, even me, I wonder, do we take it for granted? Our freedom, that's what they are willing to give up their lives for, is for the love of freedom. So I'm going to open it up. We've got some good people on here, and all of you are. I want you to share what love means to you. And if you've maybe you haven't found love, or what does love mean? Who wants to start talking about love, or anything you want to talk about? And remember, I will call on you. My friend Joseph has found a new love, and he has gotten married this year. Joseph, what about love?
Oh, it's a very good topic. And I feel bad because I'm wearing this shirt that says I drink, but there's more stuff below it. It's not, I just noticed this. It was just a shirt I got at a conference, and it's for a marketing company, but there's more letters beyond the I drink. So
you're not advertising that you drank. Good. I'm glad you
my relapse program. So it's $49.99 if you wanted to learn about it. But anyway, the love is great. When you were talking about I am married within the last almost a year now, and I love my wife dearly, and it was not something that I wasn't necessarily forced. We just met each other, and it happened, and it's on its own. So it was beautiful. But I was open to that because of the work I'd done at Shades and in Al-Anon and 12 Steps, and you were sharing about feeling unlovable, and I that resonates with me too. And I started thinking that I don't know if I felt unlovable, but I felt dirty. I felt unclean because of the abuse that was going on. I wasn't, I just felt, just unclean and because I was carrying around this abuse and this trauma, and and I carried that on to my adult life, and it went into my drinking and my using, and then I got sober, and even once I got sober, I started to that love. I was very wary of at first because I couldn't understand why they weren't interested in me without wanting anything. They didn't want money, want me to sign up for anything. There was no, it was just that keep coming. That took me a while to kind of get over of not expecting, other shoe to drop, so to speak. And, and I learned even more about it. And I was thinking at the end there, you're talking about, loving, and we talk in AA, love and tolerances are. Al-Anon taught me that I love and tolerate people from a distance. I don't need to be right with them, and I can be loved, kind, and all of those things. But not everybody has to be directly in my life, and I get to choose who's in my life and the quality of relationship. And another word you said was joy. I'm very big on joy. I've learned what joy is in the last few years. I think I had this idea of joy feeling like excitement and like being ecstatic or something like that. And today, joy for me it can be that, but like you said, that enthusiasm, and can be it can be an enthusiasm for life. Doesn't mean my heart rate is up, or I'm jumping around the room. I can just be present and grateful in situations and experience joy in a lot of different my life that I'm extremely grateful for. Didn't necessarily either recognize have before I got into it, and I've done a lot of work with children, like volunteer work with using the neglected children. It was just something I was drawn to at service work. And a couple of years ago, I was in a place, and the lady was asking me, why I was involved in this, because it's not usual for a man of my age to be. Mostly it was older men that would volunteer and stuff like that, not somebody not a man in their 30s. And I said, well, the effects that trauma and abuse can have. I know the generational effects that trauma and abuse can have, and we see that every day kind of area. But healing effects that love can have, and because I've seen that through Alan's own life, family. I've seen all of that transformed, God and love and healing and all of that sort of work that I do. And so that I know that it's the most powerful force on. I really believe that. And so I'm not necessarily filled with love every day. I'm not 100% loving, but I'm working at being closer to that. And so I really appreciate one that is very in my program. So thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Always good to hear from you. All right, who's next?
Sally.
Sally, tell us about love.
Well, for me, love means loving myself. And that is still for me a work in progress. I haven't experienced the love of marriage or boyfriend or stuff like that, but as people say, I love animals. Dogs are my favorite, but I love all animals. And I love my rescue work and volunteering with any rescue with animals. Back when I was a professional clown for 26 years, in the last 7 years, I did more Christian clowning, going to the hospitals, going to the nursing homes and so forth. And the love that I could give and the love that I would get back was so fulfilling. And it made me content. And so somewhere along the lines, I have lost that content, but going to Shades, I'm working on getting to that level where I can love myself and love all my problems, issues, and love everything else that I've done and been involved. So that's my thing of love.
Thanks, Sally. And thank you for being so faithful every Tuesday night to do the alumni meeting. That alumni meeting has grown and grown. And, we were down to about 2 people several years ago, and now it is just flourishing. And you're a part of making that happen. And so thank you, Sally. And there's others that have worked hard for that. So thank you. All right, Mr. Brandon, Tell us about love.
Sure. Hey, Tennie. Yeah, my girlfriend Stephanie that was on, she had to jump back for work. She was my first girlfriend ever in high school, and she was a senior. I was a sophomore. When she graduated, we separated, and then she was married for 20 years, had 3 kids, ended up getting a divorce. And my journey took me through some areas of where I never got married, never had kids. And I also, because I didn't love myself, I found myself doing a lot of self-sabotage, working through a lot of self-pity, self-harm, and wouldn't let myself get close enough to somebody because my super ego was getting in the way. So I go through an awakening in 2021 based on some issues that had happened and going through intensive therapy. Then in December of 2022, I went into an inpatient program with for Alcoholics Anonymous, or for alcohol. So working through sobriety, I found love for God. Stephanie and I reconnected in 2021, and I think that we were hanging on by a thread because of the way that I was treating myself. But through this program and finding OA on the cruise that we were just on, it's bringing me closer to my higher power. And I think that once I find that love, I have the willingness to be able to love myself and not be ashamed to look in the mirror. Those are some challenges, but I'm working on it and I'm praying about it. And so, yeah, God is evolving, or excuse me, love is evolving. Thanks, Tennie.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, I hope you'll be on Wednesdays. It's good to see you. You're always welcome here. All righty, Brittany. Miss Brittany, where are you?
Hello,
There you
I'm
are.
home. Yeah, for me, this was a good topic today because I have a lot going on in my family. But growing up, love and attention went hand in hand. Like if you were really good, you were shown more attention, and that was love. And I hadn't seen a healthy demonstration of love. Like even with my parents, it was very like hot, cold, just lust, lots of conditions, wasn't unconditional. And I think, and I was also brought up with a denomination of religion where what they basically said was, you're never going to be good enough to get to heaven. And what I heard is, I'm never going to be good enough. And so I kind of grew up with that. And as you guys know, I started out with compulsive overeating. And then when that switch flipped with the anorexia and bulimia, my thought process was, maybe if I lose the weight, my parents will finally love me. And so it was just, especially with my eating disorder, that was like almost like a quest for love, until of course it got a lot further than I think anyone expected. The alcoholism, not so much, because that was very much like anti-love. It was very, very much like, F all you guys, I got it figured out. And that was a whole nother journey of addiction. And I think I've learned more about love probably within the last 2 to 3 years than I have in my entire life. And a lot of that has been with boundaries and learning that some people are only capable of certain levels of love, and kind of meeting people where they're at instead of where I would like them to be. And as far as unconditional love, I think my fiance has demonstrated that time and time again. He's been with me through a year of my alcoholism, multiple relapses, and he still believed in me. And, he's been extremely supportive, and finally gave me yet another ultimatum last summer. And I was able to get abstinent with my eating disorder in August, and it stuck this time. For now, it stuck. And, I just really appreciate him. And I think that my best demonstration of love with myself right now is boundaries, because my family is very sick. My family did not get better when I chose to get better. And I think the best way I can show love is being a power of example and sticking to my recovery. That's the best way I can show love to other people and to myself.
Yeah.
about it.
Good to see you, Brittany. Thank you.
Yeah.
So TJ, what do you have for us?
Well, first I'll start with the big stuff. Today is our 54th wedding anniversary.
Oh, good for you. Yeah.
This morning when we were doing our gratitudes, we agreed that 53 and 54 have been our best years ever.
Really.
And those happen to be the years that follow our trips out to Shades of Hope. When you were talking about love, I thought when we first got married in 1969, it was a physical attraction, but it wasn't really love. And then it turned into an image. He was the up and coming preacher boy, and I was the preacher's wife. And we struggled to maintain that image, but that really wasn't love. And then we were the parents, and so we wanted to be the perfect parents. Well, he was the hard worker, and I was the helicopter mom. And then after the kids left, we stayed married out of obligation. We really didn't have love. We didn't have anything. And after Shades, after we learned to see realism and to love ourselves and to stop trying to make each other love us, after we came down to earth, now we're able to see the good in each other. And you asked me years ago, when are you going to get through being mad at him? And I am through being mad at him. So now we love each other because we want to. We see the good and we treat each other well because we want to. And now that's really love. And I have much gratitude to you guys for helping us find it.
Oh, thank you. You've done the work. You've done the two of you have done the work, TJ.
Every day.
Absolutely. We don't get any days off. Bree, what do you have?
Hi. Okay. Hi, my name is Bree.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm during my little lunch break. Well, I'm like a few of them that they said, love, I mean, in my family, and it's still not there. My parents are together, but never the affection of I never saw my parent hug my mom, or my mom ever told us that she loved us. I mean, it was already there, and that's why I see what I seek. And I saw how my siblings, they were good at something. My sister was the young one, so my mom had to pay attention to her, and my brother was the one who played soccer, so my dad was always with him. And I think that I wanted, and something that I still struggle with. I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to be the good grades, all A's. I got in soccer. I was not good at soccer, but I wanted soccer because I wanted that attention. And I never got that attention. And they're still sick. And I hope, and I pray to have the willingness to change, because sometimes in my head I'm just like, fuck it. Maybe I'm just doomed to be like this, and I'm just gonna be honest. And I think it's more the frustration with myself, because I could be the perfect everything, and want everybody to fix me. But at the end of the day, I have to fix myself. I have to accept myself. I have to look at myself in the mirror and say, she's beautiful, which is hard. And I'm not going to lie. And it's hard for me to believe it. It's hard for me to accept those compliments, because at the end of the day, I have to tell myself that I'm beautiful, even though I don't believe it. And and it's a struggle. It's a daily struggle. And I go to this yoga on Saturdays and Sundays, and I don't like going because they have mirrors. And the person that I have to look at is myself. And I've been struggling with this situation for a while. And I want to quit and not go anymore because I'm like, the person that I look at is myself.
Yeah.
And and when I do something good, I know that whenever I start doing something good, I start accepting myself and I start feeling better about myself. And it's a back and forth thing.
Uh-huh.
And that's where I'm at.
Well, I know you teach school, and I see pictures of you and your little kids on Facebook. And what I want you to do is to see the love that those little kids have for you. They have so much love and admiration for you. And I hope you will take that into your heart, because I mean, you are loving and lovable, and you have every right to feel loved. And so it's good to see you on here. I know you teach, so you're not on here much, but it's good to see you, Bree. All righty, who's next? Who else would like to talk?
Don't have anybody.
Okay, Beth, I see you floating around up there doing something. What are you doing, Beth? Hello? Well, I don't think she's hearing me. Oh, Jody. Yeah, Jody.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning,
Good
Tennie.
morning.
So good to see you. Well, I'm a little bit like Bree. I for me, my eating disorder has always
Did we lose you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Well, I think I'm similar to Bree. My first sign of love, or whether or not I'm going to receive love, is when I look in the mirror. If I look in the mirror in the morning I feel good about myself, about my body size and the way I look, my facial features and things like that. I feel like I'm going to get love from other people because I'm giving love to myself first. But if I don't feel good about myself first, and when I look in the mirror, I don't think I'm going to perceive that love from other people. That's my eating disorder. But where I am now, so far as my spirituality, and what I'm learning is I'm learning how to build my virtue up. I'm learning how to build my faith up and have faith and have those virtues that God wants me to build. And it's going to give me the ability to love not just myself, but to love others. And I'm working on trying to be more godly. I'm learning to have more charity for others. I'm learning to have knowledge, and not just knowledge so far as like book learning, but to have knowledge like wisdom, and to have patience and tolerance with people, and have long suffering, long suffering with people. Because I deal with my mother who is old and she's ailing, and I have to have a lot of patience and tolerance for her, and I have to have love suffering for her, and I have to be willing to go the long haul with her. You don't have to be able to go all the way with her to her last days. And I have to be diligent, and I have to have brotherly love for everybody. And I have prayer services on Monday nights, and I don't pray for myself. I pray for other people. And in doing that,
We've lost you.
She's still talking
Okay, we've lost you.
you don't hear me now?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when it is so true when you say giving gives you so much joy and so much love. It is so true. And I get so much love, so much joy out of giving love on Monday nights when I have prayer service. And it's all faith is about what it truly is about for me right now. It's just having faith that everything will be all right if I just had believed in my higher power. And once I believe in my higher power, nothing is impossible. And that's where I live now. When I get up in the morning, first thing I do is I thank God for giving me another day to do it right, to do it different, and to give love to everybody and to anybody. And that's what I do every day is just give faith and give thanks to God.
Well, it's good to hear from you, and you're an absolute miracle. I remember you early on, and you are an absolute miracle. It's always good to see you on here. I love you. All right, Mr. Chris. Chris,
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. This is, I don't know, it's an important subject, obviously. I feel so much is facilitated just with letting go, loving ourselves and loving others. And Elizabeth and I watched Forrest Gump last weekend. We had a movie date night and we watched Forrest Gump, and at the end of the movie, I just had to sit and think about how much love this man, Tom Hanks character Forrest Gump has for his friend Jenny. And Jenny grows up in a sexually and physically abusive home, right? And Forrest has no guile. He has no ulterior motives. He just loves this girl because they were friends. They were good friends, right? She cared for him and defended him when he was young. And at the end, what's that provide? Well, that provides Forrest, has a son with Jenny and loves that little boy, and it provides Jenny a place where she can finally heal from the trauma of her growing up, and then also, the self-inflicted trauma that she went into drugs and sex and self-abuse and all those things. And I just laid in bed. Elizabeth looked at me and are you okay? And I just laid in bed for maybe a half hour thinking about how powerful was that love of a simple man who wasn't smart necessarily in terms of intellect, but created this space of healing, not just for him, but for everyone whose life he touched. And if I had to pick in my own life, I would trade smarts for love any day, because that really is what makes the world go round. That's
Are
all.
you saying, you just said that you would trade smarts for, oh, yes, because you are very, very, very intelligent. Yes, you
I mean,
are.
yeah,
And
I don't mean that I wouldn't sell smarts to get love. What I mean is in terms of character attributes.
I got
If I
it.
had to trade smarts to have greater love, I would make that trade to have more love within myself,
Yeah.
others. I think that would be more than a fair trade any day.
Thanks, Chris. I'm writing that down. I want to watch Forrest Gump again. It's been, I have almost forgotten it. So who else would like to talk? We've got a new
Margaret.
Margaret. All righty,
Hello.
Margaret. My
Hello,
friend
Tennie. Hello,
Margaret.
everyone. So great topic. And yesterday, ironically, I read something on Facebook that just hit my heart. And I talked to Rob about him, who's my husband of almost 25 years, which blows my mind. And it's about the average length of hug between people is 3 seconds. If you think about that for a minute. But the researchers show that if you last in your hug for 20 seconds, you get the happy hormones, right? The Oxycontin. Oxytocin, not Oxycontin. And you get that love hormone. And it says also you can get it if you're holding a child, or you can pet your animal, but it's about the time, which you said so beautifully. Love is time, right? And so when he came home for lunch, surprised he had to come in the house for something. I'm like hugging him, and he's like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, we're hugging for 20 seconds, darn it. You know what I mean? And it was like one of those moments where he was like, We are? I'm like, yep, because it gives us the happy hormones. He's like, okay, honey, that's good. So we did the 20-second hug. That's a long time. So I encourage people to do the 20-second hug because it did feel really nice, but it's also amazing how much longer that is than the quick peck and the hug that you give your spouse or sweetie or your whomever when you see them. And I want to share you this. This is a rock. It's a soapstone and it has the word love on it. And I really resonated with someone who shared earlier about a couple of you about the love you wanted from the people who were your parents. And I've known my parents love me, but my own block that was from my trauma was it wasn't in the way I wanted it or felt I needed it.
Right.
And so I would say to my parents and still do, and my brother and everyone that I love them, whether they say it back or not, because it's important to me to tell them I love them. And I do also hear, Tennie, what you say, your actions of love are very different than your words of love. And I agree with that too. And this was one of those powerful moments. I was in TJ Maxx with my mom before she got ill and she has subsequently passed. And she grabbed this rock up and she said, Margaret, I need you to come here. I'm like, okay. And she said, she grabbed the rock and she handed it to me. And she says, you always say this to me. And I always feel sad I don't say it back. So I want you to have this to know that I have always and will always love you. And it was like, oh. And I have it right here on my desk always. And it was such a tender moment of vulnerability, which was rare in my family. And I'm so grateful that I have that memory and that moment with my mom. And I just think it's important to acknowledge for me that I do the best I can by my girls as a mother, but I'm merely human. And I have been affected by my life story, as have my parents. And my job is to accept them as they are with boundaries when necessary, but show my love freely because that's what I need to do for me. Doesn't matter what they do. It does, but it doesn't. It's secondary, you know? So that's what came to me today. So thank you for that story.
Oh, thank you. I love that. Thank you. Cora, Miss Cora.
Hi, Tennie. So good to see you. And I'm so glad you had a great time on the cruise. I knew you would.
Oh, it was. I hope we can get a group to go in December. That would be a great time.
I would love it. A couple of things come to mind. First of all, it's a beautiful talk and really what I needed to hear today. What I've learned over the years and recently is if I don't love myself, I'm really not lovable for anyone else to love me. And I believe that today. You know, I grew up where if you did for yourself, you were selfish, not self-care. And I know the difference now. For me, I find love is acts of kindness to others. Margaret, when you said you were married for almost 25 years, I was married 25 years. Last year, this will be 26. And you know, as you're raising your family and you have stress in your life, there ends up sometimes, which is normal, having tension with your spouse. And I remember what you said, Tennie, and you've said it multiple times. Stay with the one you brought to the dance and work through with that person. And, you know, I have to say, my marriage is really good today. It's very strong. My husband and I have worked through the tension with our children and the tension with my job and his job and parents. And what you said really resonated that day. You know, sometimes you look for other things to fulfill what you feel you're missing, but it's so worth staying with that person and working through whatever issues you have. And I'm really happy to say that my marriage is really strong and it makes a huge difference. He's very supportive with my recovery. He's very supportive. Again, you know, I try to show him acts of kindness. When I prep my food in the morning, now I prep it for him. I said, do you want me to make you a salad today? And he'll say yes. And then he'll text me in the middle of the day. Thank you for the salad. I love it. And I love you. So those little acts of kindness are reciprocated. And it really makes all the difference. It really, really does. And today was a good reminder. And thank you as always for, you know, for keeping me grounded. Love you.
Thank you. Love you too. Yeah, what I encourage couples to do, unless it's a physically abusive situation, what I say is stay until you can stay and become different within that coupleship. You become different. And then you will either be able to stay permanently or you'll be able to leave in that mutual respect stage. But learn from the one that brought you to the party, you know, learn that to dance with them. And when you get that down, you might choose to stay. Or you'll be able to leave, like I said, in that mutual respect stage. And because if we leave premature, we go find the same type of person. That's who we gravitate to, is someone that can be abusive or whatever. So stay until you can stay and become different. So thanks, Cora. Let's see, we have Mardine. Mardine, am I saying that right? Marty. Marty.
She's
Marty?
she's a new friend.
Oh, well, good morning. Tell me about you.
Hi, I am a rancher in South Texas, originally from Tennessee. I've been in recovery for 10 years. I did some work at the Meadows, Brookhaven when it was around. I did an eating disorder workshop too. Early childhood PTSD with a very, very tough eating disorder. But I love this talk. I've been, what does love mean to me? It means a lot of things to me. I've got this picture. I actually went and took a picture to show y'all. I had the opportunity to speak, so I appreciate this. When I first started recovery, I took some white shoe polish, and on my mirror, I don't know if you can see it. I'll see. I put love, the word love. And so when I'm laying in my bed, I can see in the mirror and I see love. So all the different phases I've been in, I'm still in phases, I would see love, you know, and one of my favorite Bible verses is nothing is impossible for God. So I keep the love on the mirror and then I keep that Bible verse always close to me. So, but yeah.
That's great. Well, thanks for joining us. It's nice meeting you.
Yes, ma'am.
Glad you were with us. So Miss Sarah, she's still, Sarah, there you are. You want to say something? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Tennie. I didn't really plan on saying anything just because this is the first one I've joined. It's been good to listen and to hear and just hear people's stories of how they've learned and grown. It's given me hope for my own recovery, but then also like my family as well. So yeah.
Sarah, you
Yes.
have the best love wrapped around your neck in that sweet little cat.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
that's
good.
my favorite perch right there.
That's awesome. He's beautiful.
good to see you, Sarah.
Yeah.
All righty. Who's next? We have our time is about up. So hope all of you will join us next week. And I'm going to be talking about food addiction and how the body knows. The body, it's not a mind-body split. It is the body knows. And so we're going to talk about the brain and the body and eating disorders. So hope you'll join me next week. And all righty, good to see all of you.
Everybody
Put on your calendar about the cruise next.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy.